Why did the British want to take control of temples in India? The British rationale for controlling Indian temples was multifaceted and, from a modern perspective, arguably self-serving. Whilst they presented their actions as measures of good governance and protection, their motivations were likely driven by a combination of factors. A key element of British justification was portraying their rule as superior to the preceding periods of Indian governance, particularly targeting what they term Mohammedan mismanagement of Hindu temples. They used the narrative of past looting, disorder, and alleged exploitation of temple resources to justify their intervention. This was a way to legitimize their own actions by contrasting them with a negatively perceived past. This narrative served to diminish the legitimacy of prior systems of temple governance in India and elevate the British role as a necessary aspect of reform. The vast wealth held by many temples presented a significant opportunity for the British administration. Their control over temple finances granted access to a substantial source of revenue, and this control often involved transferring temple funds into the colonial treasury and using temple assets for purposes other than religious aspects. Whilst the stated aim might have been efficient management, the actual outcome often benefited the British administration significantly financially. By establishing direct oversight over temples, the British were able to exert greater influence over religious institutions and the very social life in India. This control not only affected the temple's direct resources but also enhanced their grip on local power structures and social dynamics. The British implemented a managerial, bureaucratic approach to temple administration. This reflected their broader colonial policy of imposing a westernized model of governance even in areas where it was culturally inappropriate. This perspective considered Indian systems of temple governance to be inefficient, chaotic, and even corrupt. Their intentions were thus part of the larger effort to reshape Indian societies in ways to reflect British values. By managing the distribution of temple resources and resolving disputes, the British obtained a significant degree of control over local population, who often heavily were reliant on temples for social and religious support. This indirect control provided the British administration with means to consolidate their power and consolidate their influence across Indian society. It is crucial to understand that these justifications, while presented as benevolent, mask the self-serving aspects of British colonialism. The British sought to reshape India according to their own interests, using the control of temples as a strategy to consolidate their power, acquire resources, and enforce their vision of governance. Modern institutions of this period must recognize that the British narrative should be critically examined and understood in the context of colonial exploitation.